What's up, guys? Brian here. Full uniform, ready to play. Got everything ready to go. Got my bat. One of them. Got my cup on. I don't know when we're going to play, where we're going to play. Probably not California. Maybe Montana. We'll see. We just got to figure stuff out. Everything's day to day. But today, let's talk about HIVE. Let's talk about Steam. Why is HIVE pumping? What is it? What's the situation with Steam versus HIVE? Also, I used ProBit Exchange for the first time. I want to talk about that. And let's also talk about the economic injury disaster loan / grant. I keep always forgetting what these acronyms are. But the EIDL, there keeps being changes on that. I know a lot of people who are, whether they're self-employed or they have a small business, they're wanting to tap into that through the SBA, and things just keep changing and stuff like that. So let's talk about those things. So what is HIVE? Basically, Steam. There was this big power struggle once Justin Sun bought Steemit Incorporated, which owns Steemit.com, but is not the Steam blockchain as a whole. After he bought that, there was a lot of back and forth, and I definitely disagree with things that were done from both sides and stuff, but there was this big power struggle with the witnesses and part of the community and stuff like that. And so basically a group of them went and forked Steam over to HIVE, and a lot of the Dapps ended up moving over there to HIVE. Some didn't. And, basically, so if you had Steam, if you had an account, like a Steam account, let's say you're over on Steemit or something, and you had that a couple months ago or whatever, whether it was liquid Steam, Steam-backed dollars, or it was powered up Steam, then you ended up with a HIVE account in most situations. So basically you can kind of tap into that fork. Well, we just had like an absolutely epic pump that happened in the last few days. Mainly, it seems like it was spurred on by exchange listings, and then as that rumor kind of spread and stuff like that, the price pumped. And luckily, I had started a power down on HIVE a few weeks ago, so I had gotten a couple power downs, even though it's only been around for maybe a month, I would say, maybe a month and a half. I don't know. I got 2 power downs, and then I took the opportunity to try out ProBit. But let's talk a little bit more about this. How much did it pump? So it literally went from maybe being on second or third page of CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko to jumping up in the 35th, 36th spot or so here on CoinGecko. But it made over a 600% gain, actually. Now it's coming down, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's look at the overview first. But you see it's coming down from this, and that's what I expected. I actually sold last night, and I know some people are going to say, no, you didn't. I said that in my last video, guys. I said I was going to try out ProBit, and I was going to sell some of the HIVE. And I literally sold last night at like 89 cents. So it was very close to the top. It did get higher than that, maybe like went to 96 cents. But now it's falling. And to be honest with you, party's over. Okay, it's listed on Huobi. It's listed on Binance. And I just expect this thing to go down to 15 cents, 10 cents. Who knows? But in this kind of situation, I just don't, and it's no disrespect to it, and there's a lot of people who put a lot of work into it and stuff like that, but that being said, they put a lot of work into it, whether they were a blogger, they were a developer, they were whatever, they were just an investor, and when something makes a parabolic move like that, far beyond what the rest of the market is doing, there's going to be some people that are going to take profits and stuff, me being one of them. So, and even though it was just a small amount, because I didn't have that much Steam power when this fork happened, so I didn't have much HIVE power, but I did get a little bit out, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second. So let's look at the exchanges at this point, the markets. But the fact that it literally went from second page, not many people paying attention, to getting the listing on Huobi and then getting the listing on Binance is huge, especially since Binance kind of did some weird stuff, and powered up a bunch of the Steam and then voted for a bunch of witnesses that were Justin Sun's little sock puppet witnesses in this whole power struggle weird thing. It was just weird. Not something I really want to be involved in. So it was something I kind of jumped out, just kind of checked out for a while and kind of let things sort of sort themselves out. Interestingly enough, though, Steam is now pumping. So I think Justin Sun wants to one-up them, and I wish I was doing a power down cycle over there. I need to start that, actually, and maybe I can catch the tail end of that pump. But things are pumping, and it's hard to tell if it's like, people powering down Hive and going back over to Steam, or people powering down Steam and going over to Hive. You're going to get this back and forth with those two communities. But I am surprised how much Hive did pump. Now, if you want to access Hive, like I said, you might have an account out there, but you can go to peakd.com, and then basically a great way to log in is actually through this, Hive keychain. It's just like what Steam keychain was, and then you can, put in your private keys. You could do posting keys, you could do active keys, whatever you want to do in there, and then you could basically, work on your account here, and you can send and stuff like that, and you could do other stuff, and that allows you to connect to an interface, a front end like PeakD. Another way, actually, I didn't bring my phone. I don't have my phone right here, but eSteam is another way, and if you go back here, you'll see this eSteam. So it's no longer on the Steam blockchain, it's on the Hive blockchain now, and it's a great mobile app. There's a few little quirks with the Android version, but a lot of good stuff. Good Karma, the lead developer behind that project, is very, very respected, very, very legit, and there's also other ways, to interface with the Hive blockchain. Now, some things seem to stay back on Steam, like DTube and a few other things, but there were a lot that moved over to Hive. So you have that. Peaked, that seems to be the de facto standard way that a lot of people are connecting in and blogging and stuff like that. And so the reason this is turned on its side is because of the quirks with like eSteam. I posted this from eSteam. This was actually pretty funny. Beach Life 2019 versus Beach Life 2020. This was up in Lake Tahoe last summer, and then this was just a few days ago at a reservoir here in Indiana. A very bleak, muddy outlook for the beach scene here. So I don't know. Hopefully it will improve this year here in 2020, and we can get back to the crystal blue waters of Lake Tahoe or some other ocean or lake. It's a lot better. But again, Steam Peak seems to still be out there connected to the Steam blockchain. So you can connect to that, to the Steam blockchain still with this, and then, you can kind of replicate your post over on Steam and on Hive, and kind of try to earn double on both those blockchains instead of, connecting through steemit.com, which this is. But I've been posting a little bit, pumping things in there, here and there, and just kind of keeping at it a little bit, and just keeping kind of aware. And I'm glad I did, because even though it was only like 52 Hive that I was able to, basically send over to ProBit, it was a good trial of that exchange, and I was able to catch this little spike, which I again felt like it was going to be short-lived, and luckily I was lazy enough to catch kind of close to the peak, but quick enough to like not end up in this dump. I would have been mad if I would have looked at it today and been like, I should have done that last night. So I did get a little lucky there, but it was only 52 Hive. Because again, I really powered down a lot out of Steam and sort of got out of there because of the proposals over on Steam. It was really just kind of the same people, just kind of the people on the in crowd. A lot of people weren't getting voted into the proposal system over on the Steam blockchain. So I was just like, it's like we say in baseball, you got to go where you're needed, got to go where you're wanted. And, Steam just wasn't, it just, I was never in that kind of inside developer crowd or any of that kind of stuff. So, and not saying these that are getting funded, like the Steam keychain or the the Hive keychain kind of scenario, um, by Yaba P Matt or whatever. I mean, that's this. That's obviously something that needs to be done. These things. So I'm not saying that these are bad things to get behind and stuff, but we will see over time how that decentralized autonomous organization funding for the proposals really kind of works out. But a lot of people have not gotten funded. So ProBit, what do I think about ProBit? I actually think it's pretty interesting. There's no KYC unless you want to like kind of up your account to like way higher limits. So that's nice. You don't even have to put in your phone numbers, just email address and password. And then, you can, if you're doing small amounts or something like that, doing kind of what I did, a little test, it worked out well. The Hive showed up right away. Hive showed up, and then, basically I was able to do the trade. Now, the one disadvantage I went to USDC with it, and the disadvantage of it was it charged me like over 2 USDC to remove it, to withdraw it. And I thought that was kind of egregious. But again, they're being, lax on the KYC unless your account's like way pumped up and you're, blowing tens of thousands of dollars through this thing. So I did like my experience with ProBit, the withdrawal, like it did, end up in my wallet, all that kind of stuff on my computer. And, so I would recommend it. I just think your withdrawal amount is going to be kind of slightly higher than you would think it should be. But, give it a test drive. Here's some of the other, got ProBit, MXC. I've never tried that before. Huobi Global. I've never obviously been on that. Binance, do have the account. Bittrex, I abandoned that. Basically, one day I tried to log in, and it wanted me to put my social security number in. I was just like, no, forget it. I stopped using that, really. I did have to verify with Binance, though, which was weird. It did not ask for my social security number, but it did ask, like, I basically ended up with money stuck in there. And then it wanted, like, my ID and all this other stuff. I don't know. But it's weird. I'm not going through Binance US. Like, I'm going through the regular Binance. But I had to submit my IDs and stuff like that. So I don't know, guys. What do you guys know? Have you guys tried Binance US, or are you guys still on the old Binance? And have you tried ProBit as well? I'm kind of curious. Because I had a decent experience, and I saw someone else said that they had a decent experience with it too. Now, let's go on to the economic injury disaster loan / grant advances and all that kind of stuff. And this is just, and the SBA is really bogged down with this and stuff, but this keeps changing. Yesterday, I literally looked at it, and it said that they were going to open it back up, and that they were going to even have some of the, agricultural enterprises. And I have a friend that's a farmer, so I was like, hey, you might be able to get tap into some of this money and stuff for your farming operation. And now this has changed. SBA is unable to accept new applications at this time for economic injury disaster loans, EIDL, COVID-19 related assistance programs, including EIDL advances. That was the up to $10,000 based on available appropriations funding or whatever applications. Who have already submitted their application will continue to be processed on a first come first served basis. So they just keep changing what they're doing with this. It's literally a moving target, and a lot of us were told that they were going to be opening this back up on Monday, and now it's not open up. So again, this kind of goes back to my last video talking about a deflationary event, and a lot of this money that's out there to kind of keep things rolling, keep things turning over and stuff like that literally is not getting out to that many people, or a lot of us has taken a big fat zero on all these programs, even though we're on top of them stuff. I've literally received zero from any of these stimuluses and any of this stuff. And I'm not saying, hey, you should feel sorry for me, nothing like that. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of people in that situation. And while some people are touting that, oh, there's just all this helicopter money just flying around, and it's just so easy to get, all that kind of stuff, the fact of the matter, a lot of people are going to end up with a big fat zero. And, Harvard or someone like that will end up with, this type of money or something, when they didn't really need it or something. But who knows? Maybe they got in quicker. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of the stuff and the terms on the stuff, you're going to see this is going to take a while, guys. It's like I was saying to someone, earlier. If you look at when General Motors filed for bankruptcy, it was in about June of 2009 when the actual, guillotine collapse of the stock market was in September of 2008. So it wasn't until, many, many months later when General Motors had to file for bankruptcy, and guess what their stock went to? A zero bid. And you're talking about someone who's making cars and, actually manufacturing something. And then you think about a lot of these businesses, they don't really they never had any kind of profitability, and their valuations are just absurd. I mean, look at Uber, or something. It's just kind of like, how much money are they going to lose, doing that? And then in this situation, obviously, their business has been severely retracted. And then it's like people are still buying that, and the stock market's still going up. Something's fishy, guys. It's not normal things. So this is going to take a while to play out. Who knows what's really going to happen? But at the end of the day, if you had a Steam account, then you probably have a Hive account, and you could, blog on both, or kind of re-engage, or if you wanted to sell one or the other or something like that, you could have some more money out there. And as this ecosystem develops more, it'll be interesting what they come up with, because like I've said, Steam was always almost there. It just was really frustrating, because I do think freedom of speech, and obviously with the Modelo cough, a lot of us have been censored. You can't say that, or your video would potentially get demonetized, all these kind of things. And so something like a crypto-driven platform is needed, and stuff like that. Now, the one thing I will say, and it's so tough, and I knew that I needed to get out of Hive when it was up, because the thing is most people have their money stuck. If you've powered up, you got to wait a week till you get a power down cycle, but it takes course over 3 months' time. That's too long, really. And there's no real data that really shows that having this long power down cycle or power up scenario really protects the price at all. You're still going to have these very, very jagged, up like a rocket, down like a guillotine scenario, because anybody with liquid wants to get out before the other people are able to do power down cycles. So it's just the nature of it. I really think they should go to a 3-day power down, just as a security thing, just to send people an email if a power down cycle has been initiated, if their keys have been compromised somehow. But other than that, and that would stop the panic selling. 3 days is enough to stop panic selling, enough to provide security, but there's a lot more liquidity and stuff in the system. But again, I'm not big on those on Steam or Hive at this point anyway. But I do wish them luck. We'll see what happens. I'll keep putting stuff up on both. What are you guys doing? Have you used ProBit? Have you used Hive? Have you used Steam lately? And did you try to tap into the EIDL? Where are people at? Are you getting any money? Because I've gotten zero. Anyway, guys, have a good day, and I'll check you guys later. See ya.